Yes, everyone, welcome back to the IrishHotspur with your boy Dave and a panel of special guests this evening. A good variety, or this morning actually, a good variety of guests with us. And this seems to be the life of a Spurs fan lately, late nights and early mornings. But it is transfer deadline day. We have a lot of news to get through. But first of all, let's go around the panel, see how everyone is, and do they think we will get any incomings this window. Let's start with Shawnee. Shawnee, it feels like only a few hours ago we were speaking on transfers and that, my man. But look, welcome back, brother. I really appreciate you giving up some of your time this afternoon. I know you're a very busy guy today, but look, how you keeping, my man? And do you think we'll make many signings today?
I'm keeping tired. I'm very tired. I've had like 3.5 hours sleep, pretty much, and but yeah, struggling through. And do I think there's going to be transfers? Yes, I do. I think we're going to get the Brennan Johnson deal done. I think that will be done. Here we go in the next 90 minutes or something. Probably looks like it's almost done. And then I think that the next signing will probably go to the wire, and it will be dependent on whether or not Tanganga's deal is here we go to Hojbjerg, and we get one more of these clowns at the back out. And obviously, it looks more likely it's going to be Davo Sanchez, Big Dave. If he's going to go anywhere, if it's going to be one of them, it's going to be him. And then, look, I don't know who the player is coming in. I think, look, Lloyd Kelly. I'll be honest. Like I said it last night, I feel a little bit embarrassed because I'd usually go out of my way to figure out, to have an opinion on all these different players that we're linked with. I go and spend a lot of time researching them, and if I haven't already got an opinion, but this guy Lloyd Kelly, I honestly don't know. And I haven't had time to go and do the Y Scout thing, so I just don't know if he's any good or not. I'd be surprised if he's that good because he's played in the Premier League and I haven't really noticed him. So yeah. But the other guy that we're linked with now, Bella Kotchap, if that can be pulled off, I'd be all over that like beans on toast. I think he's excellent. So yeah, I think there could be two more deals, Brennan Johnson and one centre back. That'll be it, but it will depend on what happens with Sanchez, if I'm honest.
Yeah, the mention of beans on toast, Sean, you shouldn't have done that. Not around lunchtime, my man. My stomach's speaking to me. But look, we have plenty to talk about in terms of the centre backs. One guy, he's just refusing to move. He wants to move on a free in the summer abroad. Hopefully that's out to Timbuktu or out the back ass of Kazakhstan. Maybe not the abroad he was maybe visioning. That'd be absolutely nice. But we will get on to that. We've got a lot to get through. Kate, how are you keeping? And to answer Big D here, do you think Spurs could put off a Van der Vaart like signing today? I doubt it, but what do you think?
I'm okay, thanks, Dave. Do I think we're getting Van der Vaart? No, I don't, unfortunately. I wish I could say yes, but no. I do think Brennan Johnson's going to happen. I think it's imminent as well. I'm hearing all sorts of reports from 30 million to 50 million to all different prices. Doesn't really fill me with much excitement, especially when you look at the likes of Palini has just gone to Bayern Munich for 60 million euros. I mean, I know I'm not saying he would have come to us, but come on, at least put a bid in for the guy. You know what I mean? But I think, God, I don't want to say that I don't think we'll get anyone else. We've got to get a centre-back in. But who it'll be, I don't know. And I agree with Sean. I think a lot of it's dependent on who goes out the door. We've got these players that just don't want to leave. And until we get some outgoings, I'm not sure whether we're going to get any more incomings, unfortunately. Sorry to be so negative.
It's not negative, Kate. It's the reality of the situation we find ourselves in today. We've got a lot of work to do. We left it this late. It'd be interesting to see whether the club, sort of do what they've done with Serge Aurier, look to complete the transfer window and then maybe pay up one or two contracts or whatever after, whatever ones they can't get loaned out, maybe to reduce the squad to get it down to size. It'd be very interesting to see whether that happens. Let's wait and see. But it's definitely not negative, Kate. It's just the reality of the situation. So it is what it is. Hennessy, my man, great to see you. And how you keeping, my man? Do you expect anything in the door today?
So, kind of to echo what Kay said, I think we'll get Brennan Johnson over the line, which is kind of like, okay, it's someone. And again, it's to do with getting any centre-backs in. It's going to do with if we can get any centre-backs out. I don't think if we have any movement, then I think we won't get anyone else coming in, especially in the defence. But in a perfect world, I would love to see us go in for a striker. And, not saying anything, but, Taremi's deal has just collapsed. But, that might be a nice little addition. But this is Tottenham. And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to move like that quite on deadline day. But I won't let it get me down. It's transfer deadline in N17. We're going to have a great day.
I really do hope so. I really do hope so. Look, as for Taremi, right, don't get me wrong. I think, he's very similar in playing style, sort of to Harry Kane, link-up play and that. But if you told me we were going to sell Harry Kane and replace him with a guy that's older than him, I would have put my hair out. So, look, let's wait and see what happens. But the reality is, beggars can't be choosers at this stage. We need someone in the door to be able to compete with Richarlison. So, look, I hear it, my man. And last but not least, Dermotron, how you keeping, my man? You look like you're just out of the bed.
Nah, I've been up for a while. I've been up since 7 this morning, working on transfer and getting news in, working on my own channel, trying to get stuff ready. Busy day today ahead. Put a couple of breaking news into your chat there as well, Dave. That Sean said, well, Tatanga's now should be going to close to joining German side Augsburg on loan deal from Tottenham for the rest of the season. And look, we are now considering moving Southampton defender Bella Ketcher, which I think is a great name.
It'd be a great signing.
It will be a great signing. And
a bottle of ketchup all over your beans on toast, eh, Dave? Yeah,
yeah, exactly. And Bournemouth have rejected the 20 million bid for Lloyd Kelly, which is sort of scratching my head at that one. But look, Brennan Johnson, for me, I don't think he's worth 50 million, but I think that's the way the transfer market has gone. I don't know if Sean would agree that Chelsea have polluted the transfer market completely. So where that play would have been worth 25 million is now double because of what Chelsea have been doing. So look,
it's crazy what 50 million used to get you and what he gets you now. If Conor Gallagher is 50 million, if Brennan Johnson is 50 million, if this is the kind of, if Livramento is 40 million quid, the guy's played about 6 months of football in his entire professional career because of his injury problems. I think the money market has just gone absolutely insane. It's not just Chelsea, obviously. Saudi Arabia is having a big impact on it as well, but it's just the inflation in football finance is just bonkers right now. Bonkers.
Yeah. And apart from that, Dave, I'm fine. Excited transfer deadline day. And I think we're going to get 2 or 3 in the door today. And I do think 2 or 3 will be going out. Don't be surprised if Sanchez or something like that is part of the Johnson deal.
Well, look, we'll get on to Davinson Sanchez in a couple of minutes. We will start with Brennan Johnson. Before that, though, we've got Jeff, new flat cap member. Jeff from Perth, my man. Big yourself up. Really appreciate the support and hope you enjoy all that members-only content and all the members-only interactive, quizzes and the Fantasy League and everything else. So big up, Jeff, and hopefully you're keeping well, brother. The Big D, he rubbed my nickname. He says, what's the crack? Good morning, guys and girls. What is realistically good end to the window in your eyes? Look, we'll go around the houses on this and then we'll start cracking into some of the news. Shawnee, what would be a good end to the window in your eyes today?
A good end would be 3 in, 4, 3 out, 3 in, 3 out. If you can get, and depending on who they are, Bella Kotchap, I'll take Brennan Johnson. I've softened my opinion on Brennan Johnson. When it first came out, I was vehemently against it. I was like, what are we doing here? But actually, the more I've thought about it, the more I've looked into it and stuff, I actually think that there's probably a little bit of unseen quality, so to speak.
I want to press you deeper on that in just a moment. So, I definitely want to go into maybe what you've heard or why you've maybe changed your opinion. But we'll get into that as soon as I bring up the image, my man.
Yeah, okay, no worries. And then the third player, ideally a striker, but that's not going to happen. If not, then if we could improve, I'd really like Conor Gallagher. I know I said a minute ago 50 million quid is crazy. Whatever, it is what it is. That's the number you got to pay. If that's the number you got to pay, but I really do rate him. I think he's a brilliant player. I think he's had a terrible season last year at Chelsea, and everyone went, "Oh, they forgot about the Crystal Palace version of him." But everyone at Chelsea last year was absolutely awful. Raheem Sterling last year looked like a £5 million player, right? So I just think that Conor Gallagher has got so much talent, and I think he's perfect for the system. And I think you upgrade. So if you can move Hojbjerg out or someone like Ollie Skip out, whatever, make some space, bring in Conor Gallagher, does the homegrown numbers are good. So those 3 players would be a really, really good finish, a really good ending, and then getting a few more players out on loan or out the door. And I don't really care who. I think we've named the players 1,000 times that we all don't particularly rate. If they all go out of the window, if there's 6 players that come in or out today, then I'd upgrade the window from like a 4.5, which I think it currently is, to like a 7 or an 8.
Interesting. No offense from Sean. He's a hard man to please. But Sean, I've seen potentially a guy that you've mentioned quite a lot this summer transfer window, Sangare. Potentially, if we end up taking Brennan Johnson, that he's lined up to go to Forest out of that money. Would you prefer him over Conor Gallagher?
Yeah. But different players, though. Conor Gallagher plays more as a box-to-box 8, and maybe even as a 10. Ibrahim Sangare is just an absolute monster in the 6. And that to me is a problem, right? Because if you have Bissouma, I think if you bring in Sangare, you can play him in the 6. You can then move Bissouma either keep him in the 6 and rotate, or you can push him up the field because Bissouma's got all the qualities to be a good 8 as well. But you've got Bentancur coming back, and you've got Sarr doing what he's doing. So how do you mix all that in? But if you do lose Bissouma to injury, who on God's green earth are you going to play in the 6?
Yeah.
So
no one.
For me, I think Sangare is probably a better player for what we need than Conor Gallagher, but I just don't think we're going to get Sangare. And I think Conor Gallagher might be more likely because despite Chelsea and Tottenham not having too much transfer history, new owners at Chelsea, they're not going to be they don't care who they're selling to. They sold to Man United, so they'll probably sell to us as well for the right price. And that money will go straight onto their books for FFP, which is important for them. So there's probably an upside to Chelsea selling to Tottenham.
Interesting. That's maybe a unique perspective because we know that Chelsea and Tottenham do not do business, especially since the Luka Modric team. But look, new owners, maybe that might change. And I want to ask you on Victor Nelson as well, Shawnee, but we'll save that when we get into the centre-backs because apparently he's on his way to Sevilla, apparently. So another one that maybe you've been mentioning that Spurs have let slip through the nets. Kate, same question to you. Let's answer Big D here, and then I'll throw a different one at Hennessy and Dermo. But what would be a good end to this window in your eyes? Do you agree with Shawnee, or do you want more? Do you think we have to get a striker?
Yeah, I think we've got to get a striker. For it to be a good window for me, we've got to get a striker. We look so poor up front. Richie's pathetic. I know Peter's saying he needs competition. For me, he just needs to be dropped and we need someone better. It's as easy as that. I can't bear him. I think he's dreadful. We desperately need a centre-back. I remember coming on your fan show, I think the first week of the window, and we was talking about it when Tapsoba was linked, and now we're being linked to Kelly from Bournemouth.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing, isn't it? It really is.
It's so embarrassing, and the Bournemouth fans don't even like Kelly. Do you know what I mean? They must be rubbing their hands together. So for me, for it to be a good window, we need 4 out minimum and a minimum of a striker, a centre-back, a winner. I'd like 4 out, 4 in, and then I'd give it, if they're 4 good ones, then I'd give it an 8 or a 9.
Do you think that's realistic today, though, with 24 hours, or not even 24 hours to get deals done now? 12 hours.
Not in a million years. I mean, if we got Tapsoba in, I'd give it possibly a 9 or a 10, but that ain't going to happen. We'll probably be sat here and we'll have all these rejects from lower clubs, and you'll get the fans saying, oh, but he's better than what we've got. But it's not about being better than what we've got if they're still average. That's what I don't understand.
Yeah. No, look, I agree with that. It's about improving the squad, not making sideways steps. But look, we've got less than 12. Yeah, we've got 11 and a half hours left to go now. So, interesting. Let's see what happens on that regard. But big up the Big D, my man. Really appreciate the support, brother. Paul Markey says, what a waste of money Johnson will be. Look, we're going to get on to Johnson in just one. Look, we'll get on to it now, Paul Markey. We'll get on to it now, my man. We've got 2 things when it comes to Brennan Johnson. Just hold that thought there, brother. Of course, Brennan Johnson, this was reported by Fabrizio Romano about an hour or 2 ago. Negotiations between Tottenham and Nottingham Forest for Brennan Johnson are advancing, and I understand a deal is now getting closer. No agreement in place yet, but contracts ongoing to make it happen later today. Brennan's green light has given the green light to the move also, which is a huge plus. Now we do have more updates on that. This is from Sammy Mockbell. I know Shawnee's about to roll his eyes at this. He says, Tottenham have communicated to Nottingham Forest that they want to lock in a couple of outgoings before submitting an improved offer for Brennan Johnson, who is still attracting for interest from Brentford and one other Premier League club. But reports have come out since then saying Tottenham are very, very close to agreeing a 50 million plus bonuses deal for Brennan Johnson. So this one does look like it probably will get done today. We've got Tanganga more or less already out the door, which we'll get on to regular on as well. So it does look like we are clearing the path for this one to happen. And look, we'll start with you on this, Hennessy, and work our way back up towards the panel. We'll go Hennessy, Dermot, and then back up to Sean. Paul Markey says here that Johnson is a waste of money. Do you agree with Paul Markey?
Well, from the looks of it, we're going to find out whether he's going to be a waste of money or not. And whether he is a waste of money, I think is down to the player, and it's also down to how Ange wants to use him. You know, those are the only things that are going to tell if he's going to be a good player for us. So I think, similar to Ange, we should all back him. We should always give him our full support, as we should always do with any player that comes in, regardless of their background. And really just kind of don't be too harsh on him. Give him support where it's needed, and just hopefully he comes to bear fruit.
For sure. And look, does this transfer, does it excite you? Are you skeptical of it, Hennessy?
I'm not going to lie. Before he was even mentioned last week, I completely forgot that he existed. So I don't have any particular feeling towards this player or towards the transfer. If he's someone that other people also believe could improve our squad or could give us a different type of dynamic that we know that we need on the wing, then I'm more than happy for it. I'm more than happy for it to go ahead, and let's just hope it brings us forward, takes us to that next step forward, and keeps us going.
Just maybe one more follow-up question up on that, Hennessy. Is it a player we really need? Because it's a big outlay of 50 million, right? I'll get on to the fee in a minute. For me, I don't think we should really be moaning about the fee. It is what it is when you're going for homegrown players. But we're stacked in the wings position, right? You've got Kulu, you've got Solomon, you've got Perisic, you've got Son, you've also got Gill to come back.
Yeah, I completely understand the reservations. The only thing that I've ever heard people talk about when it comes to Brennan Johnson is just how fast he is. And I don't think it's unreasonable to say that our wingers are not the paciest of wingers in the world. I'm not quite sure what he's like in his ability to take on a player. But what I'd also be curious about is, will he be playing over Solomon? Like, will he be a starting winger or will he be a backup winger? Because if it's to be a backup, then I'm a little bit confused. Like, I understand if, in the first couple of weeks, whilst Kulu knows what to do because of what Ange wants, and, it takes a few weeks for Brendan to settle in. I'd like to know, is he going to be a first-team winger or is he going to be a bench winger? Because you can't spend 50 million on a player to be on the bench when the starter there only costs 30 million, that doesn't make sense. You wouldn't spend more to have a backup. So I kind of want to see how that goes. But, yeah, we'll just kind of see how it develops and I'll make my opinions based off what I see.
Yeah, look, 100%. This is what maybe is confusing me about this. I think we're already stacked in the wide areas. Are we looking at bringing them in to go and maybe adapt them to play as a striker? Are we going to move Son inside? It'd be very interesting to see what sort of happens once this deal does maybe happen. But Dermot, do you agree with Hennessy's maybe confusion on this one?
Yeah, I do.
What have you been told?
Yeah, I do. Look, I just been told, even last night, I was told that Forest were far apart in the deal. I mean, they rejected a £40 million bid for Johnson last night, and Forest want 50. So I can understand why talks are still ongoing. For me, it's not the first player I would have gone for, to be fair. Though he did have a good season and struggling Forest side last season. But look, I think we should be going for players like Vlahovic. We should be setting higher standards. We shouldn't be going for the homegrown player where we should be getting a top striker in. We sold Harry Kane for 86 something million pound. We should be going for the very best. The Auburn deal died long ago. That died a death because Tottenham wouldn't pay the money. And that's been our thing all through every transfer window. We tried to penny pinch. And again, we're quite happy to pay 50 million euro on a player that's only had one season. He's not improving. He could come to us and be a Richarlison, a waste of 60 million. We need to go for players that are proven. Now, I understand people going to say, well, is he Premier League proven? He is, but I think we need somebody with experience up there. Somebody's going to lead the line for us. He's a young lad. We're buying for the future. We need to buy for now. We need to back Ange for now. But look, if he comes, I agree with Hennessy. He'll get my full support. I'd be right behind him. I hope he does well. And once he puts on the Tottenham shirt, then he's one of our own. So, he is an exciting talent, but I just think the money's too much for him. But again, with Penny Peach and where we should be going for the big players with reputations. We're a big club. We need to act like one.
Look, for me, I would really prefer that money to be spent on a striker to come in here. or at least test the waters to try and get a striker in. But for what we're being told, Ange really likes Brennan Johnson. He really wants him in. And I suppose we just sort of maybe have to blindly sort of back maybe what this plan is in behind him. As for the fee, look, I get it, right? It's extortionate for someone like Brennan Johnson, but you 20 million, that is probably the fact that he's homegrown, right? We got to accept the fact Tottenham ain't going to buy the best players that are already representing England, or some of the players already representing Wales, that qualify for the homegrown thing. So therefore, that's why we're at maybe the level we're at right now, where we're taking a punt on a guy playing lower down in the league that has maybe produced for his club, and we're looking for him to make the step up. However, as we've seen in Richarlison's case, doesn't always happen like that. There's a big difference between playing for a team down the bottom half of the Premier League and a team up the top half of the Premier League. Richarlison had a lot of space to run into, balls into the box where he could, where it benefits him. Same with Brennan Johnson, because a lot of the time they're playing on the back foot. They have a lot of space to make things happen. Now with the way we play, we're going to come up against a lot of teams that will sit 10, 11 men behind the ball. Does he have the craft? Does he have the wizardry to sort of still produce these numbers? So, Sean, Mr. G says here, Johnson in his first season in the Premier League scored 8 goals and had 3 assists, which is quite impressive for a 21-year-old. That's in a poor Forest team. In the Championship, he got 16 goals and 9 assists. And look, you said yourself you were skeptical at the start of the window, but since then you've maybe spoke to a few people, done a bit more digging. So tell us why maybe a bit of a U-turn on this. What's come to light that we need to know?
Well, I spent more time looking into his Y Scout, into the individual areas of his game, and I think that what I take away from it is in line with what these Nottingham Forest. I've got a couple of friends that I forgot were Nottingham Forest fans, and they're like football mad. They know more about Tottenham properly than I do. They love football, and so I trust their opinion. And they said that Brennan Johnson has got bags and bags of untapped potential. Everything he's ever been asked to do by the Nottingham Forest various managers in all the leagues, they ask him to do something. He's a very, very quick learner, and he does exactly what is asked of him, and he does it very well. Does he have weaknesses in his game that he can improve on? Yeah, his passing is a little bit heavy. His first touch isn't great, right? So there's areas, but he's 21. There's areas, and you can hopefully...
Sounds a bit like Richarlison, though, Shawnee, right?
Yeah, no, it does.
Not great, passing heavy.
Yeah, it's that, but the difference is that he's still on the learning curve side, right? So, whereas Richarlison's been around the block a few too many times now to still have that as an issue. I think the pasting is important. I think his ability to find the side netting. I've said it a few times. I think if you look at his most of his goals that he scores, the ball doesn't hit the back of the net. The ball hits the side of the net. I think that's why he gets quite the numbers that he gets, is because relative to his chances that are provided for him, his ability to finish, his goal conversions, his shot conversions are actually pretty high, and I think it's because he knows how to beat the goalkeeper. I personally think that he's a player that will be used in certain circumstances. I think you made a good point, Dave, around like when we're playing counter-attacking teams. How many times have we already seen against Manchester United and against Bournemouth, and in fact against Brentford, specifically probably more Brentford, did we break down the right-hand side and Decky had acres of space in front of him, but he just couldn't pull away. He got caught up with because he's just not got that pace, right? He doesn't want to stretch his legs because of his hammy injury, and he hasn't got it. If you put Brennan Johnson in that situation, Tottenham can go. Against teams that are going to do the low block, I don't think he's necessarily going to be as useful on the right-hand side, but I do think maybe you might put him in up top. You might move him into the 9 role there so that he doesn't have to worry about being the creator in chief. He can be the guy who finishes. And remember, he has got a very good finish on him. So for me personally, I think that forget about the price tag. I agree with what Hennessy's saying. The price tag is what it is, and I think that it will be determined later on whether his output is good enough. I think that you have to just shake hands with reality of what the market is with that. But in terms of what can he do for the football club, I think he offers something that Decky doesn't have. And I think I trust these guys when they say every time he's been asked to play a system or play a new style, he's picked it up and run with it and done very well. And I think that that's something that maybe Tottenham have uncovered as well, that perhaps we haven't seen him play something like Ange Ball, and that maybe he might just suit the system. So for me, like I say, am I overjoyed with it? No. Was there other players that I would rather come in? 100%. Pedro Conchalves was my number one choice. I think the guy's absolutely phenomenal. Can play left, right, centre, up top. Could do absolutely everything. I would have probably preferred Pepe. as well. But if we're going to get this guy, I'm behind it. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt, and I'll trust. If it is an Ange-led decision, I'll trust it, and I'll get on board. As far as just the last point I'd make about it, when you say that we're overstacked in the wide areas, I do agree with you as well. What I would say is, whether or not Brennan Johnson's always going to be asked to play in the 9 against the low block teams and play out wide against the counter teams, maybe that's the case. But I also think you could see other situations develop where I think that Decky, who is more technical but doesn't have the pace to play on the width, maybe he might be repositioned more centrally into that kind of, into that 9 role or into the 10 or into the second out. I just think that he maybe has more of a suitability to play in that role in certain situations than anybody else from the wide areas. And I'll include Sonny in that. So I think that we have options. And I think that's what Ange likes to say. I always go back to what he said when he was at Brisbane Raw. He said, I play the same system every time, but I have different personnel, and the different personnel create different systems and different styles and different looks and you can have entirely different teams. That's how I become unpredictable. And I think that Brennan Johnson does offer something that we don't already have. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah, look, a lot of great points there. Look, hopefully Spurs can develop them maybe things in the game that Sean's highlighted that he really needs to work on. And look, let's face it, if we do, you've got a very good player there, let's be honest. But as well, look, Kate, I know a lot of people maybe are not 100% excited about this deal, but I have made the case for a long time that we have to look at some of the homegrown players that we currently use to fill out the squad and meet that registration. It's the worst crop, out of most Premier League clubs around the country. Do we have to maybe have a bit of understanding that we are actually trying to improve that so that we can improve the squad as a whole across all aspects?
Yeah, I think a lot of this Johnson deal is because he's homegrown. I think that's a lot to do with it. I was dead set against it. I thought it was, it still doesn't fill me with particular excitement, I've got to say. But like Sean, I have been watching him. He is very quick. Last season, his ball carrying distance was the highest in the Premier League. So he has got skills there. He can play as a forward. I'm not sure. I'm sitting on the fence. I'm not going to.
You don't sound too excited, Kate.
No, I'm not, because I was really excited at the prospect of Hojbjerg. I can't lie. I thought this guy looks really exciting. He's young, but at the same time, I do understand we need this homegrown quota to be met. But it just doesn't fill me with any sort of excitement. And 50 million, when you think Chelsea have just paid 42 million for that Cole Palmer, not saying he would have come to us again, but do you see the difference in quality? What a player he is. Do you know what I mean? It just feels like a real anticlimax. We never show the ambition to go and get somebody who's a superstar. We always end up getting someone and go, oh, well, the manager can see something in him. We can mould him to this. And it's just a little bit boring. I wanted a real big name into the club. After selling Harry Kane, we deserve to have a big name signing, and it don't look like it's going to happen.
Yeah, look. I once it sort of reached yesterday, I kind of, sort of wrestled with the fact we ain't going to make any sort of big name signings. It's sort of, it takes Spurs. Look how long it took Spurs to get Mickey Van de Ven and deals like that done. We ain't getting, a big name deal done in the likes of 24 hours. But just to follow up on that, Kate, Paul Markey says Johnson's ball control is jack shit. He's only got speed.
Well, the stats don't say that, but obviously you can only go by the eye test. I don't watch Nottingham Forest every week. A lot of Nottingham Forest fans really, really rate him. Again, I'm not trying to justify that it's a good signing, because for me, he wouldn't have been in my top 5 choices, but it is what it is. If we get him, Ange must see something in him, but it doesn't fill me with any sort of excitement at all.
Yeah, look, it's one of them. I think you're going to get some people that are excited. You get some people that are maybe underwhelmed. And I guess we just have to wait and see really what the plan is with him, because no one actually really knows. We're all sort of guessing. Is he coming in as a winger, or is he going to be transferred as a striker? Is Kula going to go into the middle? Does that free Son to go up in the middle? So I guess we sort of just have to wait to see how this sort of plan unfolds to really get a grasp of the measure of the signing. So look, let's wait and see what happens in that regard. But everybody out there watching, there's nearly 800 people watching. Please let us know your comments on Brennan Johnson in the chat. Enio, my man, just give me 1 minute. I'm going to hold this back just 1 minute because I want to bring this up when we go on to centre backs, buddy, which we're going on to next. So just give me 1 minute, my man. And then DDMKTHFC85 says Patson Daka from Leicester were a punt. Look, funny enough, you brought this up. I actually wanted to talk about, just have a quick say on this. I see everyone saying gift Orban. Patson Daka, look how that worked out. He came from the same club Haaland did. So that's why I keep saying someone like Gift Orban is a huge, huge risk, to bring in here when someone like Patson Daka didn't exactly work out at Leicester. And that's a guy that many Spurs fans were saying, get him in. And they were moaning that he went to Leicester. And look what he done at Leicester. Jack shit, he ended up getting relegated. So for me, that's why I say, it's a huge risk to take a punt on some of these guys from them sort of leagues and bring them over and expect them to hit the ground running in the Premier League. It's wishful thinking, in my opinion. We don't talk about the adaptation that it takes, the difference of speed, quality, how quickly you have to do everything, how much quicker your brain has to work in the Premier League, this, that, and the other. So for me, look, I get the hype around Gift Orban. Don't get me wrong. There is as much as I think it's a risk, there's a massive possibility that someone like Dortmund picks him up and he goes on and becomes, so as good as Haaland scoring goes. But for me, the fact that we sold Harry Kane, I just can't believe many people are sitting here pining for Gift Orban. I just don't get it. And many of them people say cash in on Harry Kane. I just don't get it. It's absolutely mind-boggling for me. But look, when it comes to Patson Daka, we're a punt. I wouldn't personally. I wouldn't. He failed to deceive at Leicester. He really did, and there was no excuse for it. He had an agent, Vardy, there. He couldn't get in ahead of him. He's still not in ahead of him, despite them being in the Championship. Vardy's back in the squad. So for me, I wouldn't take a punt on Patson Daka. No, definitely not. But big up, my man. And then Paul O'Connor, we'll give this one to you, Shawnee, and then we'll start with Hennessy on the centre backs. Paul O'Connor says, I'm past the point of caring who we get. As long as we get players that want to play and put 100% in every game, I never want to see another starting lineup like we had against Fulham.
Wow. I mean,
a lot to unpack there. Big up, Paul.
Yeah, big up, Paul. Big up, Paul, mate. I mean, I personally do care who we get. But you know what I would say is that I'm not confident I understand the specifics of Ange Ball perfectly yet to know whether a player is going to fit the system or not. And so I usually feel very confident when I'm like, this guy won't do it, this guy will do it. But with all the players that we've been linked with, I presumed that Bissouma wouldn't be a wonderful 6. I thought he'd be a better 8. I still think he could be a better 8, but he has proven me wrong in terms of his ability to adapt to the 6. I didn't really know whether or not Van der Ven would be a perfect fit, and that he had so much pressure on his shoulders coming in with that price tag, and he's come in and absolutely bossed it. Destiny Udogie, I didn't know if he had the ability to get back and defend, and yet he has learned it. Pedro Porro, I think the entire Tottenham fan base is in the mud, thinking that the guy can't play as a right back, but especially with the inverted right back role, he manages to get out of trouble with his pace thus far, and he can offer things going forward in the middle without helping Bissouma out. So I don't fully think I've figured out what a good player that fits the system looks like. And so I don't know whether or not, whilst I do care what players we get, I'm not entirely confident of any players that we're going to get, whether they're going to work or not. And that's why I kind of trust in Ange. If he's okay with it, then he must see something. And that's why I'll be okay. If they think that Lloyd Kelly is the right fit, if they genuinely do, I'll get behind it. If they think that Brennan Johnson is going to be the right fit, I'll get behind it. If they think Conor Gallagher is going to be an asset, I'll get behind all of them, because I feel like probably there's not many Spurs fans that understand Ange Ball as good as Ange Ball, as good as Ange does, right? So I'll just at this time I'll trust him. In terms of the Fulham game, yeah, look, I mean, I don't know what to say about I think the Fulham game, I don't think it was as peak bad as everyone's kind of making out. I thought like we got back into the game second half. We ended up losing on penalties, but I think that it was just people are more frustrated with the decision making around the team selection rather than the performance. But the actual players themselves, I think a lot of those players are not as bad as people are kind of making out. But when you play the entire B team, like I think that. Sorry, let me rephrase. I'm rambling a little bit. I feel like if you have 10 of the normal starting 11. and one of them comes out from an injury, and one of those players against Fulham has to pop in, or maximum 2, I think we can handle it. But when you wobble the Jenga block, the block of Jenga so much by replacing 9 solid or 10 solid players with weaker ones, then then it becomes a very wobbly stack and troubles ahead. So I don't know if that answers the question. I feel like I've just been rambling for 2 minutes. Sorry.
No, it does. Look, I think Paul's overall point now, Shawnee, is he doesn't really care at this point. He wants bodies in the door because he's sick of seeing the same repeat from a lot of these players. Yes, Ange made the decisions, but at the end of the day, these players have produced the same shit underneath Conte against Forest in the Carabao Cup last year, Middlesbrough the year before, things like that. And I think that's what Paul's overall point is. Kate, back to you on this one. I mean, do you agree with Paul? Look, you sort of just get players in the door right now that Ange wants so that he can work with, so we don't have to see some of these same old gobshites.
Like Sean, I don't care who we're getting. It just feels like every transfer window feels like Groundhog Day. We're stuck with the same players. We loan them out. The next year, we're stuck in the same situation. It's just so bloody depressing. Regarding the Fulham game, I would have rather seen the kids from the academy on the pitch than that lot that were there. I mean, I think they just all look disinterested. Half of them know they're not wanted. So for me, I would have just stuck a load of academy kids on and give them a run out. I do agree with him in the fact that I never want to see that starting lineup. I wouldn't want to see any of those players, not including Van der Ven, obviously, but the ones that he brought in a Tottenham shirt. Again, they don't deserve to wear the shirt. They're disgusting as far as I'm concerned. I know Sean says that we've all gone a bit over the top about it, but I thought the performance itself was appalling. There was no heart. There was no creativity. They weren't bothered if they lost the ball. I thought it was just a dreadful performance, but I do care who we get in. But like Sean says, none of us really understand Ange ball better than Ange. So we have to kind of trust that if he says, look, Brennan Johnson is exactly what I want in my system, we've got to trust and go with it because he obviously sees something there.
As long as he's making the decision, right? As long as it's not Levy saying, we've got 6 players here. Which one do you want? And Levy's and Ange says, I want any one of those 3. And Daniel says, well, unfortunately, they're too expensive, so we're going to go and get this guy. If that's exactly. It's a problem, but if Ange is on board with it, then I'm on board with it. Kind of
thing. And going back to what you said about Patson Daka, he's actually in talks with AC Milan, I believe.
Yeah. Look, let him go. For me, look, we can't afford to take another punt on a striker. We've done that with Richarlison. We spent 60 million. It's backfired. For me, you've sort of got to go and get as close as the real deal as you can. That's just my opinion on it. Look, there's going to be plenty out there that would say take a punt on Patson Daka or Gift Orban.
Yeah.
Look, I can understand it as well. They want competition in here. So, look, I can understand it. But Paul, on that first part, my man, let me know. Does that even include Lloyd Kelly, my man? Let me know, brother. Big up, Paul. Really appreciate the support. And then also the lad's in here, and he says, lads, it's a joke. Sign and welcome to the 90s. We will bring Gary Francis back next on Disappointed. And that's in reference to the into the Brennan Johnson transfer deal. He was saying that to me the other day when we were out doing a bit of hiking. Yeah, he's underwhelmed. He's not a very happy man with Tottenham's transfer business. The way he's happy with the business we've done, but it's the way the window's starting to pan out. It's starting to really frustrate him. That's why he walked the legs off on me the other day. I took punishment for Levy's poor decisions. Big up that. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. Hopefully you've got your deadline day package ready, so you don't have to move off the chair and you can enjoy deadline day. Big up that. And then we've got Davy Shire and Nana Hotspur as well with Super Chats, which we will get on to. Just bear with us. Good to see you in, Davy. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. Look, let's move on to the next part. And that, I'll ignore the Brennan Johnson part, by the way. I just wasn't going back to remake the image. I was tired when I'd done it. But Rennes did make an offer of 12 million euros for Davinson Sanchez. However, since then, it's come out that it's been turned down. Tottenham want 15 million, and Rennes have since walked away from that deal, believing Tottenham's asking price is too much. Hennessy, Why are we pricing teams out the market when we're in a situation where we need to get Deadwood out the door?
It's €3 million on someone
It's a
who's
joke.
never been able to be completely in the first team. Why? I think, I mean, yeah, they might want to say, oh, well, we want to get value for our player and whatnot, but like, come on. The guy hasn't done particularly well in the team for 3 years on the bounce. A typical footballer's career is only probably 12 to 14 years long. So a quarter of his career, he's struggled to get first team football. So come on, man. Over 3 million, we're trying to start things anew. Why haggle over 3 million? Just say yes, and hopefully they can agree on personal terms. But I guess that's not good enough. And perhaps whatever the financial plan is of the owners, they have to make it 50 million for whatever they want to kind of make things carry on moving forward from their perspective. And even though that's not our perspective, but hey ho, what can you do? It's a shame. I hope somebody else comes in for him. I doubt it will probably get done today, but we're just gonna have another season of Sanchez on the bench.
Well, look, Paul O'Keefe said today, we could end up getting another centre back in if two go. But look, we'll get on to Tanganga. That's more or less he's undergoing a medical at Hojbjerg. But Dier has come out and said since he ain't going anywhere. He wants to run down his contract and move abroad. What an absolute joke. But also with Davinson Sanchez, now we're pricing teams out the market. Does that mean we ain't getting a centre back in before the window closes, despite Ange saying he wanted centre backs, in his transfer meeting before he officially started? But also when we signed Mickey van der Ven, he said he still wants another one in the door.
Yeah.
Does that mean now it ain't going to happen and we're already pissing off Hans Postecoglou?
Well, hey, I like to think of, imagine how angry will all of you guys be as individuals if the reason we don't get like a Bella Kotchap over the line or something is because of €3 million over negotiating with Davinson Sanchez.
Fuming.
Like, I just want to if that's going to be like strictly the only reason, then I think that's a very weak argument to kind of not get a new centre back in. I think he's run his course. I think it's best for him to go elsewhere. I understand that from his perspective, he might not be able to. He might have to move to a country he may or may not want to live in, has to play in a league he may or may not enjoy. He may get a wage cut and stuff like that. But in the end, it's in the interest of the club to sell him. And I'm a bit like, really? Like, I understand €3 million is still a lot of money. It's £1.5 million or something around there. But it's like, with the situation we're in, and we were promised we were going to be rebuilding. We promised we were trying to get players out. And why are we putting in these very small steps that are going to prevent us from getting players out and getting those players in, which is what we were told we had to look forward to this window. So really, I think it's just a bit of backtracking on words and stuff from Tottenham. And, it kind of just, it is what it is. But yeah, I'm just really disappointed with the way that's gone. And, if there was another reason as to why it happened, I'd like to know. But, only from what we can see on the tweets and whatnot, all we can say is that they just didn't meet our valuation of it. And it's just like, well, if that's going to be the reason we can't get a new young centre back in who's going to be a nice little rotation player to fill in, just so it isn't Sanchez or Dier who has to fill in when Romero gets a red card or if Van der Ven gets injured, then I'm just really, really disappointed in that. If that's the way we're managing the business, just really disappointing from us.
Yeah, 100%. For me, surely the defending against Fulham, but took 3 million off what we were asking for anyway. We should be jumping at the fact someone's offered us 12 million and be accepting it, especially for what he's produced in his time here at Tottenham jersey and how much the fans have already made it clear they don't want to see the guy representing Tottenham anymore when they booed the guy last season. And it wasn't just that one where he got booed by the whole stadium. It was against AC Milan when he was coming on as well. There's been so many occasions where Spurs fans have shown their frustration towards this guy, but yet the board seem to just forget all that, drown it all out, and still hold on to something that just isn't there. I just don't understand why we're making it very, very hard on teams, to take some of our players away when we're already struggling with some players who don't want to go anywhere. So players that maybe are looking at it, you should accept the lower fee if that's what you have to do. But Hennessy, let's answer Inigo Rodrigo here, my man. He says, Dier, hate the guy, declined to move to AFC Bournemouth, wants to run his contract and move to Europe. Don't understand why he doesn't want to play any games. No one will buy him. What do you think is the rationale behind Dier's decision. It's clearly not football related. Surely he's you know, at this point, it looks like it's all money orientated, right?
Yeah, 100%. Look, I think, you know, just like any job or whatever, I think that Dier has fallen out with his employers. You know, let's just say for, you know, sake of argument, let's say Dier felt that he was working really hard behind the scenes when Ange came in, and he was really trying as hard as he could to change kind of things were under the later stages of Conte and whatnot. And now the club's saying, look, we're not really interested in kind of having you around here. And, you know, if you've been working hard on something and then like the manager or whatever comes along and says, oh, yeah, by the way, you've been a bit rubbish, you know, you'll just get angry and you'll do whatever you can just to kind of do as little as you can for as long as you can. And unfortunately, it's kind of the way we're in. He doesn't look like he's good enough to actually play in the 11 that Ange wants, which is a shame because if you have a player, you'd like them to be able to play in the starting 11. But, you know, when it comes down to it in the end, we're just going to have to kind of deal with it. And unfortunately, there's no way of us to get out of paying him. He's either going to get it weekly or he's going to get it up front. You know, so the best, I guess, kind of the best interest from a football perspective is just to, you know, make him train on his own or whatever. You kind of just have to do what you can in that sense. From a different kind of perspective, it's just going to be like, we're just going to have to wait for him to go. This is just... Yeah, it's a shame it's come down to it, and it's just a bit of a kerfuzzle. But hey ho, look, just a year of it, just one more year of him at the club, and then we can finally wave him goodbye.
I'll be honest. If I was the club, I'd ring him right now. I'd ring his agent, and say, okay, you know, where does Eric Dier want to go? You know, he'd probably pick Spain or somewhere like that. You know, okay, grand, and then send him on holidays for the whole year. You know, just send them away from this football club. That's what I would do. One-way ticket, no return. Go and sit on the beach, and you're not allowed off that beach if that's where you want to be. For me, I'm absolutely sick of it. At this point, he's got 1 year left in his contract. He's on, I think, 80 grand a week. You multiply that over the year. I think it's going to cost you about £5 million, maybe a bit less, to rip up the guy's contract, pay him off. As we sit here today, that's exactly what I'd be doing, because you can't have a guy around the club who's more worried about his money when you've got a manager here who has ambitions. You've got a squad who are changing the ambitions from last year to this year. The first team squad look a lot more hungrier, this, that, and the other. You cannot have a guy like this sitting around here with that sort of mentality or that sort of attitude, because what ends up happening is one or two players over the season fall out with Ange Postecoglou, who are no longer part of his plans. All of a sudden, Dier's sitting there waiting. Guys, come and join me. Sit down. Let's have a chat. And then it just filters negativity right throughout. And this guy has been around for 8-9 years now. And at this point, you know, he's going to have a huge say, and he probably still has a huge influence in and around the place. You know, and there's no, since he's come into the team, is there any coincidence that we keep rotating managers? Because we start off well, Dier's performances drop off a cliff. All of a sudden, our performances drop off a cliff because of the position he plays in. Results drop off a cliff. Manager gets sacked. Hey, presto, this guy's still here and he's ready to go again. This time he's been found out by Ange Postecoglou, and now we're seeing Dier's true colours. I've heard this guy's a leader. He loves the club. Yeah, loves it so much. He doesn't want to move on so that we can progress as a football club. He wants his ashes buried under the stadium, you know. But yeah, he's more worried about his bag than he is actually playing football. So for me, you know, you can go and bury your ashes at Port Vale Stadium now. That's where I'm at. I don't care. I'm absolutely sick of it. But look, this guy's deluded. He's just deluded, Dier. He's just deluded. And this same at Ndombele, right? Guy hasn't completed 90 minutes and I don't know how long, and he's waiting for a club that's playing Champions League football. I mean, honestly, the delusional thoughts of some of the players we have, and this is why I just saw so important just to get them gone and be done with it. Honestly, I wasn't even surprised when I woke up to it. I was not surprised, man. I had that feeling about the guy all along anyway, my man. It's a joke, brother. It's an absolute joke. Big up, Enio. Really appreciate the support, my man. Davy Shire says, Hatate, Kyogo, and Tosin. That's who he wants in. Dermo. Look,
hello.
If Hojbjerg goes, Hatate, he can play that Basuma role that Sean's talking about. He's played it under Ange Postecoglou. Kyogo, he already knows exactly what he wants from Ange Postecoglou wants from a striker, so they would make sense. But also Tosin, you know, this is one that's been bandied about for quite some time. He wants to leave Fulham. He wants to progress his career. He's homegrown, so he sorts that mold. Do you see any of these three happening today?
Kyogo, no, because he signed a new 4-year contract at Celtic during the summer, so he won't be going anywhere. Haiti, maybe. That could be a summer move, I think, next summer. Tucson wants to go to Monaco. He doesn't want to come to us one iota. We even offered Eric Dier as a part exchange. Now, Fulham want Dier for some reason. Now, very quickly on the Sanchez thing, Dave, it was Sanchez who rejected Rennes. So there is
the club turned down the bid. The club wanted.
Yeah, but there's also rumours out there that he didn't want to go anyway too. So there's another player who can rip up his contract probably from tomorrow. Eric Dier. Look, we're never going to get into them three players in because, as I say, Kyogo's on new contract. Haiti maybe in the summer. Tucson wants to go to Monaco. Jota is another one we're looking at today because Jota has now been released from Saudi Arabia. So he's a player Ange wants at the club as well, which I think would be a great signing. I've watched an awful lot of Celtic over the last. I've always watched Celtic, but the last few years, we know what Ange is like up there, Dave, and the way Celtic were playing. I think give Ange time, he will get it right. He will get in the players he wants. And we're also, Dave, I'm hearing in for, I think it's a Dutch defender, Par Suez.
Oh, Par Suez from Torino.
Yeah, we're in for him as well, apparently. So that we are looking at getting him in as well today. So we are trying to get players in, but the problem is it's the players on the year's contract that are stumbling. Why, if you're on 85 grand a week, would you want to go somewhere where you're going to get 50 grand a week? Do you know?
Well, if footballers remain ambition and you love the game, right?
Exactly.
I've had plenty of players before, take pay cuts in order to go out there and play football.
Yeah, but the point is that Dier or them don't have ambition. They're money merchants. All they want is to collect the money every week. They don't care about the club. They don't care about us fans. All they care about is their paycheck every week. So do the right thing. Pay off the contract. Start talks now with them. Right, you want to stay, you go and train with the under-21s. Or you pay you off your contract and you can go off now. Do it tomorrow so they can't sign for anyone until the summer. Sanchez is the same. Luis is the same. We've got 3 players whose contracts expire at the end of this season. If they stay, the 3 of them will stay, especially Hugo and Dier. They could cause problems within the camp and start doing what they normally do. We need to get rid of them one way or the other, and we need to get rid of them now.
The thing is, the club will not rip up contracts till at least the Saudi window's closed. They're just not going to do it. Daniel Levy will hold out till deadline day tonight to try and get a fee for these players. And if it doesn't happen tonight, he'll wait till the Saudi window closes, and then he might make that decision. So, look, let's wait and see what happens. But Davey, my man, look, if we could get in any of them, I'd be happy, to be honest with you. I would be happy. I think any of them would be good signings. Rio Tati, he didn't play in that midfield role originally when Postecoglou signed him. He was more of a winger, of a forward player. And Postecoglou sort of, how would you put it, got him playing that role, in that midfield role in his team. Kyogo, look, 30 goals at Celtic. Can he replicate that at Tottenham again? Premier League is a big step up, but the fact that he already knows the system, it's going to help him settle in that regard. He already knows the training, how intense it is and everything else. So it's a seamless sort of switch over. Tosin, I'd absolutely love, my man. I think back up to Romero, perfect. He can pass a ball just as good as Romero. He's big, he's strong, he's fast. For me, I'll be happy with it. Just quickly understand there's been interest in Harvey White from a few clubs, but Spurs are asking for too much money at the moment. And the guy who's put this out, Lily White or a Rose, his name is John. I do believe him. He's got very close ties to the academy and very good insights to the academy as well. So I would definitely 100% believe that as well. But there you are. We're even struggling to offload Harvey White because of what we're asking. We're absolutely asking extortionate fees for players that other clubs just don't see that sort of value in, and it's absolutely annoying. But big up, Davey. Great to see you, my man. Kate, Nana Hotspur, as she says, we knew this would happen, Kate. Bad signings.
Yeah, we've been saying it for ages. It was just, like I say, we was linked we went from Tapsoba, we had Tosin in there, Victor Nelson was mentioned. And then there's all this hype and personal terms are agreed and all this, and then nothing happens. And now we're linked with all these mediocre players. I mean, I know what Dermot said about Kyogo. He has signed a deal, but Tottenham could buy him out of that deal. It wouldn't cost that much money to get him out of that deal, not at all. But again, like you say, it's a big step up to the Premier League. I don't know. It's so frustrating. I've just seen that Victor Nelson, Galatasaray, have turned down a deal with Seville. I didn't want him at first. He can be a bit hot-headed, but I'd take him. I'd take him in a heartbeat in the situation we're in at the minute.
Yeah. Look, I agree with you. Like, I know Kyogo signed a new contract. He's not going to be on massive money. I definitely think Spurs will have to get him out of it. But look, let's wait and see what happens. But big up, Nana Hotspur. Derma, I believe you have to hop off, my man, so I appreciate you giving up some of your time this afternoon for coming on, brother. Where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Dave. I've got to pop off. I'm
you're
about to get my own show ready at 1 and then 4 and then 8. I'm very busy today. I'm extremely busy. Yeah, you can find me and the gang over at THFC till I die. Where you get everything Tottenham from past to present. And we have, as from yesterday, announced a partnership with the Full-Time Sports Network as well. We're joining them, and where we're hoping to bring more other fans onto the channel and do other stuff as well. So there's a lot of exciting new shows and a lot of exciting new projects coming up in the next couple of weeks, especially next week with our international week, where we're all going to build up to Ireland, England, Wales and Scotland's and Northern Ireland's European qualifications. We're going to cover a lot. So, but more on Ireland as we play France, try to beat them in France, and then the Dutch game, which we're going to, Dave, on Sunday, which I can't wait. So looking forward to that. And I just want to leave you this with a little bit of news I've got. There are 8 names still wanted by Ange, but that centre back I just mentioned is Ange's next target. Arsenal, Liverpool also interested in him. However, Spurs currently the favourites to get him. So we could be getting another centre-back in before the end of the window. And just don't worry about Dier and Sanchez, Dave. They will go. One day you'll wake up, they will be gone.
Look, this is the thing. People tell me not to worry about them, and then we see Sanchez on Tuesday night, and look what happened. You know, I get sick of this. Stop telling me not to worry about them. I fucking worry about them for a good reason and for a good cause, because they absolutely hold this club back. And I'm sick of people saying, don't worry about this, that, and the other. I'm fed up of it.
Look, for me, I said it the other day. 80% was the players' fault. 20% was Ange's fault on Tuesday night against Fulham. You know, I've stated that 80% was the players. Ange had to make changes. He said in his press conference, when am I going to change it? And he knows who can trust in the Premier League. So he tried trusting these players. They proved they're not trustworthy. So look, them players deserve everything. But one thing about Sanchez, at least he had the balls to step up for a penalty. Where are the rest of them players? Where are the rest of them players when they're asked to take penalties say no? At least he had the balls to step up and take one. So I'll give him credit there, but not for everything else.
Yeah, look, credit for stepping up. You know, there's plenty of other players that should have looked at it and go, oh my God, the guy hasn't been able to pass the ball down the right-hand side all game. It's gone out for throw-ins. I will step up and take that penalty, not let him do it. I mean, it's just weak. But anyway, Darmo, my man, I appreciate you coming on, and we'll speak again soon, brother.
Yeah, I'll catch up with you later today, guys. Shawnee, Kate, Hennessy, lovely to be on with you, and I'll catch up with you soon. Come on, you Spurs.
Stay safe, buddy.
We will be there, and Tottenham will be back again. Don't you worry about that.
See you soon, Darmo, my man. See you, brother. He had to say Dier and Sanchez before he left. He had to get me going, didn't he? He had to. He couldn't help it. Just quickly, some breaking news from Sammy Mockbell. Sean's rolling his eyes again. He doesn't like this guy. He says Tottenham and Nottingham Forest agree a deal for Brennan Johnson worth 45 million. Now agreeing terms of bonus payments. So it does look like Sean said when he came on, this one could be done in the next 90 minutes. It looks like he's set to be right on that one. Shawnee Matthew says Postecoglou wants Johnson, then sign him up. By the way, Ange system suits him. He's not going to lie. That's what he reckons. Big up, Matthew. Great to see you in the building. Hopefully, India's treating you well, my man.
Yeah, I agree. Whatever Ange wants at the moment, I don't feel, like I said earlier, I don't feel like I am entirely confident enough with the system to be able to allocate in with absolute confidence whether I think that Ange is wrong to sign a certain player. He knows his system better. I'm still trying to learn it. So if Ange wants it, I'm all over it. And like I said, I do think that there's more to I've been convinced. I don't know if I'll be proven to be wrong on this, but I have been convinced by other people whose opinions I trust, who know the player, that there's more to him than meets the eye. And on that basis, I'm okay with it.
Look, Matthew, I think the biggest thing is, look, from some of the players that maybe we were looking at with Conte, I think we have to accept we ain't going to be in that round. There's a reason why, okay, everything else happened with Conte, but they were supposed to sign contracts come that October before the World Cup. It didn't happen, and I reckon Conte wanted a certain level of player, and on the other side, Tottenham are sitting saying, well, we can't bring you that level of player. So I think we have to understand with Ange Postecoglou, with the way he works, he doesn't shop in the markets that City and all does. You look at what he done at Celtic; they were not in the Japanese market before he came. He pulled a Tati, he pulled Kyogo, he pulled a guy from Canada, who comes in at right back and replaces Juranovic, who so many Spurs fans wanted after the World Cup. This, that, and the other. Ange Postecoglou has specific things in his players that he likes, and if he sees that in them, he'll bring them in. It doesn't matter whether you know him or not. He brings in players for his system. I think this is where I sort of have to wrestle with it. Yes, as a football fan, I like to see all these glamorous signings coming in. I get it. As Tottenham Hotspur, we have money to at least bring in one big name signing. I get it. However, I'm just resigned to the fact that it ain't going to happen. And I'm not going to delude myself with it either. It takes us 2 months to negotiate Mickey van der Ven. No, we need a centre-back. I have zero faith that we're going to negotiate any sort of deal in the next 12 hours over, for someone anywhere sort of, in that bracket. So, look, let's wait and see what happens. But Ange wants him for his system. I suppose we have to get behind it, my man. Like I said, Matthew, earlier, I think a lot of people, once we see the plan and people understand what the plan is, then, you can make more of a judgment call on whether he's a good sign and whether he's not a good sign and this, that, and the other. But what I would say to people, forget about the fee. It ain't our money. We ain't spending it. It's not coming out of our pocket. We ain't making it up. But also, he's homegrown, so you have to. That comes at a premium. We know that. Aston Villa paid 100 million for Jack Grealish. Did they want to pay that? No, they didn't. But they have to in order to have the best homegrown players. And the reason why they do that, so when they do have to use them, there's no drop off in quality. Whereas the homegrown players we've got, there's a massive drop-off in quality. So, for instance, you bring, but Dier's not homegrown, but you bring him in at centre-back, massive drop-off in quality. Skip into midfield, massive drop-off of quality. Sess Young in at left-back, massive drop-off in quality. So we do have to get better players in that regard. But big up, Matthew, my man. Really appreciate the support. We're going to move on and talk about maybe what's going on with Hojbjerg today and maybe a centre midfielder coming in here. David Shire says, been following you guys. Love it, Big Davey. Looking good, Lady Spurs. Huge ups to Sean and Co. Look, first of all, my man, I'm glad that you're enjoying the content. Hopefully so many of you others out there are like you, Davey Shire, and they are enjoying the content, my man. Look, we put a lot of time and effort into it, making them graphics and all that sort of stuff. So it's good to see the appreciation for it, my man. I really do appreciate it. And just quickly, Davey Shire is also generous enough to give out a membership to Spurs GCTV. So make sure you big up Davey Shire for that, my man. And I'm very generous of you, Davey. But Katie says you're looking well. I don't think Jim's going to be too happy. Jim's probably, at home fending off Davey here.
I don't think so. I think I think it just takes it all with a pinch of salt. He don't take no notice. He knows he's got me right where he wants me.
Well, look, Kate, there's no harm in a compliment, right? It puts a pep in everyone's step, So big
exactly.
Baby, absolutely.
I'll take
anything.
And Sean, he's also mentioned you, my man. You want to say a big up to Davey?
Yeah, big up, Davey, mate. Hope you're well, buddy. Thanks for the well wishes. Hope you're also enjoying life, whatever time. It must be nearly 10 o'clock at night over in Australia, mate. So hope you're having a nice Friday night, couple of beers in front of you, and wind down the clock with us over the next 12 hours.
I don't think Davey sleeps, to be honest. Dave, do you sleep? I'm getting a bit worried about you, my man. You're always a mate. Do you ever sleep, my man? But big up, Davey. Great to see you in the building. Martin Knightsbridge said, breaking news, Tumbleweed arrives at Hotspur Way. Oh.
Don't worry, I've heard he's a solid winger, mate. Tumbleweed's an amazing winger. Don't worry.
I want to try that some deadline day. Just make up a name and see if people hop on it. Oh, he's quality. You know, you want to see him out in the Turkish league last year, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely love it.
Mate, he was tearing up the Turkish second division. Don't test him.
Big up, Aaron Knightsbridge. Tumbleweed, I'm sure Tony the Gardener will be pulling his hair out here and that signing coming in, my man. Davy Shire says it's all BS. Let's enjoy the season ahead. Love the Irish Hotspur. Look, you know, don't get me wrong. I've really enjoyed what I've seen come the first 11. But we are going to have problems down the line if we carry a few injuries and suspensions because the player stepping in, there's a severe drop off quality. Like I said earlier, you get away with one or two. But in certain areas, centre back, if Sanchez comes in, your 3 points are gone out the window straight away. I don't want to hear anyone tell me any otherwise because anytime he started last year, people saying, oh, Dave, just get behind him, give him a chance. 30 seconds later, he's giving away penalties, etc. So, you know, it's sort of like I find that hard. And I just, until these guys are moved on, they're always going to come back and cost us. They're always going to come back and halt the first 11 and all the progress that they're trying to make. But look, once the window's closed, Davey, I can sit there tonight, I can just chill out, and I can look forward to the rest of the Premier League season, my man. So, look, let's hopefully we get a few signings in. But big up, Davey, brother. Really appreciate the support, my man. And as much as you guys love us, it's tenfold. We love you guys back as well. So big up, Davey, my man. Absolute legend. And Jim coming in. Kate, you're the odd one out. You need to grow a beard.
That's not the first time someone said that to me in the last week, actually. No, I'm clean shaven.
I reckon we should go with sideburns.
Yeah, perhaps get sideburns down here, maybe.
Big up, Jim. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. Great to see you in the building, brother. Big yourself up. But look, let's keep this moving. Let's move on. Just quickly, actually. As well, Japhet Tanganga. This is from Fabrizio Romano. Japhet Tanganga undergoes medical test at as a new Augsburg player right now. Loan deal with buy option worth $6 million. Here we go. Confirmed. So it does look like Japhet Tanganga's out. Hopefully one of Dier or Sanchez go next. And then we can get in that centre-back that we also desperately crave alongside Ange. And also Sergio Reguilon has signed Man United contracts, final paperwork being completed before a move from Tottenham. Confirmed. Exits THFC on a season-long loan. No fee or buy option break clause in January. Full wage covered by Man United. Sean, you want to have your quick say on the Reguilon or the Tanganga deals?
Yeah, I think I mentioned it yesterday. I think Reguilon for me, I think that I think that the players that we all want to leave, we're struggling to get rid of. They're putting their feet in the sand and don't want to go. They're digging their heels in. And so if you want players to come in, then we know it takes players to go out. And if the only players that are willing to go out are sort of the second tier players, but the players that you probably don't mind staying, unfortunately, that's what we have to do. His third choice is a left back at the moment in Ange's eyes behind Ben Davies and Udogie. So I'm okay with it. And I'm also okay. Like you can't wish the players out the door, but then have a problem with where they go. Like at the end of the day, you have to just get on board with that as well. I don't think he'll be at Man United for long. I think he's literally there as a stopgap until the Luke Shaw or Malacia is fit again. And so, but I'm okay with it for the time being, right? If it helps get the numbers down, it's fine with me. And then the same with Tanganga. Look, he's never going to play for Tottenham, and I want him to kickstart his career. So, good luck to him in Germany, and let's hope that he smashes it, and then we can sell him next summer for some decent coin. You know, that's it.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be nice. Just quickly, some breaking news from Sam Wallace. I was about to say Sammy Mockbell again. I thought that was a hat trick on Shawnee.
I can't be rolling my eyes anymore. They'll get stuck behind my head at one point. Yeah.
But it comes out, he says, Chelsea and Tottenham are currently negotiating the transfer of Conor Gallagher. Chelsea want 45 million for the 23-year-old, while Spurs' valuation is close to 35 million. Shot there. But look, let's see if we can close that 10 million gap. It's not a huge stride to make. So
I'll take that. I'll be very happy with him.
Maybe this deal can't get done. Sean, just quickly, we will come back to you on the whole Hojbjerg and Conor Gallagher situation, because there's plenty of moving parts that have to happen for this deal to happen. Just Kate and Hennessy, quickly, what's your thoughts on Reguilon and Tanganga moving out? We'll start with you, Kate.
I agree. You can't want players out and then sort of moan about where they go. I said to Jim, watch Reguilón go to Man United and become an absolute world beater. That would just be typical. As for Tanganga, I think the club have treated him terrible. They stopped his move. Was it AC Milan when he wanted to go there?
Yeah.
Now he's ended up going to the team in Germany. But I wish him all the best. He's not good enough for us, but he did. I think Tanganga's one of those that always gave his best. It just wasn't good enough. So I just wish him all the best.
And where are you at, Hennessy? I definitely agree with your sentiments towards Tanganga. Definitely hard done by Hennessy. Where are you at with the two players out the door?
With Tanganga, yeah, okay. Well, see you later. Yeah, it's definitely someone who's not good enough. There's no joke about that. The only game where I could say he even had a decent game was the opening game under Nuno, I think it was, when we played against Man City and he had Sterling in his pocket. Apart from that, he's never ever done anything even near like that again. So, yeah, good luck to him. I think there is a mandatory buy option if Augsburg don't get relegated for about 9 million on the Tanganga loan. I'm not sure I'm chatting rubbish, so I won't die on that hill, but I think that is something that's in there. And when it comes to Reguilón going to Man U, dear Man U fans, you can have some of our deadwood. Enjoy Reguilón. Let's hope he doesn't get injured too quickly, because I think if I remember correctly, on his loan to, I think it was to Atletico, that he did get injured, but then he caught some sort of like bacterial infection whilst he was in the hospital, and just knocked him on his backside for the whole year. But so I hope he does well. I hope he does well at Man U, but not well enough that it controls like the games when he plays against us, if he does play against us. But just as a watcher wanting to see a footballer, we all want to see him get better, and be nice to see him whack on a bit of muscle by eating a few more calories, and actually learn how to defend more efficiently and whatnot, and carry on developing his attacking capabilities. And hopefully the wingers at Man U will help him do that. So yeah, good on him, and see you later. I'm not tearing at the seams. I'm not completely unhappy. So yeah, go on, get him out. Let's get more players in. Let's go.
Ryan said, the luckiest git
The
in
best
the world.
left back.
He's always injured when it comes to the transfer window. So he never gets to be moved on. He never has to cut his salary. He's still getting paid the same amount he was getting paid. And if he went anywhere else, he wouldn't be getting paid what he's getting paid at Tottenham. He is the luckiest guy. Every time it's like, oh, is it transfer time? You're going to kick me out of the club? Oh, no, my hamstring's gone again. What a shot.
Yeah. Honestly, it's very times that honestly, I'm at that point. It wouldn't surprise me, Sean. It really, really wouldn't surprise me. Kuva says, I love the balance here. Sean always highly pragmatic, ranging to Dave, who dreams of the new Messi arriving with every signing. Look, I hold out them hopes and aspirations. Maybe I haven't grown up as a kid, Kuva. Maybe I just need to grow up a little. But, no one's ever going to take my dreams away from me, my man. Never. I'll always hold on to them, brother. And then also, Matt in Oz. Big up, Matt in Oz. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. Let me know whereabouts. We had Simon in last night from Australia. We have William Kelly. We have Paul Hojbjerg. We have Davy Shire also from down under. So there's a big Australian community developing here, my man. So welcome to it. Welcome to the Irish Hotspur community. And hopefully you enjoy all the members-only content and all the other perks that come with it, and the content over the course of this season. So big up, Matt, my man. Really appreciate it. Do let me know whereabouts in Australia. Absolutely love that hairstyle, Shawnee. I love it, lad. I love it. You got to ditch the flat cap and go with that hair. It goes along with the persona, my man. I'm all over
wow. Let's say just a quick thing on Ryan Sessegnon.
How's my hair?
For the nearly 4 years he's been at Tottenham, he's been injured for a year and a half of it.
Wow.
Yeah. Like unavailable for selection. I said it in the chat the other day. I'm pretty sure he must have he must be taking out a mortgage on a hospital room somewhere just because he stays there so much, man. Like, it's an absolute joke.
Oh, I love it. People are absolutely loving it, Sean. Some are. I like it personally.
No one ever sees me without my hat on, So
that's what we want to hear.
I thought I'd take it off. To be honest, the hat.
Spliffix, Sean. That's a name you would like. He says, Sean, your hair is amazing. I wonder if that's you that put in that comment. I love it.
Hey, Biro Spliffix. That's a really
it's a great name. It's a great name, isn't it? There's so many things you can take from that, I don't know actually what it means. Put in the comment, let me know what it means. But just another quick update on the Jesus, so many tabs open. On the Conor Gallagher thing. Tottenham Hotspur launched 40 million verbal agreement for Conor Gallagher, but Chelsea are holding out for 45 million Mail Sports. So there's a lot of sort of news outlets and all in and around the same sort of ballpark when it comes to Conor Gallagher.
I put a
Sean,
tweet out earlier on, Dave, right, saying Bella Kotchap, Gallagher, Brennan Johnson. I'm good with that as a final. That elevates us up to a 7 or 7.5. We still could have done with a strike or whatever, but I'm really happy with that. And if we can get Conor and Brennan done this afternoon, and then maybe have a little bit of squeeze, a little bit of timeout, and a late one at 11:39, 11:50 drop. Bella Kotchap signs for Tottenham. Be a nice way to finish the evening out.
Oh, lad, if we sign Bella Ketchup, I'm going to buy Heinz out of it for ketchup, and I'll just sit here squirting it everywhere. Oh, I'd absolutely love it, my man. Sean, what is it about Conor Gallagher that you think maybe Ange Postecoglou likes and that he's willing to ship Hojbjerg out? Now, I must stress to everybody, Conor Gallagher is only happening if Hojbjerg leaves the club, according to Paul O'Keefe earlier on today. Now, Paulinho is on his way to Bayern Munich to wrap up that deal for, I think it's around £60 million, which now means Fulham are trying to lure Hojbjerg over. However, apparently it's going to take quite some convincing to do, as Hojbjerg believes he should be going to one of the world's best clubs. So I do think this whole Conor Gallagher scenario does, depend on Hojbjerg leaving this club. But Sean, why do you think Spurs would like to bring in Conor Gallagher as Hojbjerg's replacement? And in your opinion, is it an upgrade?
It's a different type of player. Again, I don't know what Hojbjerg is. He's not really a 6, or at least he's a 6 in a double pivot, but he's not a single 6. I don't think he's a box to box anymore. I don't really know how to describe Hojbjerg or what sort of system. I think he's just a double pivot player, and that's not what we need. So Conor Gallagher, for me, offers a lot more creative threat up the top end than Hojbjerg does. He's also a workhorse, a passion. He's a passionate guy. I think he's got a good finish on him. I think, like I said, I think also he'll press the living daylights out of the opposition in the final third, which is exactly what you want if you want to recover the ball high up the pitch. Having someone like Conor Gallagher in the team would probably make you not necessarily need to have someone like Richarlison, who would do a lot of that kind of that high press work as well. So to me, I feel like he just gives you a different set of options to what Hojbjerg does. Because I just think Hojbjerg is just someone who needs someone next to him and to kind of do zonal midfield work. And I don't think that that's the way we want to play. People need to have their specific roles. So completely different player to Hojbjerg. And like I say, I think that the thing for me is I really, really enjoyed watching Conor Gallagher when he played for Crystal Palace. Yeah, and everyone said, "Oh, at Chelsea, he showed his true colours." I don't think he did. I think Chelsea last year were a complete mess. I think they had absolutely no direction. There was no clear plan, no clear strategy, no clear formation, or anything that was sort of coherent. And if you were to take essentially 90% of the players in the Chelsea squad last year and just look at them in that season in isolation, you would think they were all terrible players, and that's not the case. So I think that there's a really good player in Conor Gallagher. The only question mark for me, I guess, is in a fully fit squad, where does he start? I'm not sure. Does he come in and play alongside Maddison and take and compete with Sarr? If so, I don't know. I don't necessarily know if he's quite got the defensive side of him that Sarr has. So I don't really know exactly where he fits in, but I think that he's someone that certainly improves the squad strength over Hojbjerg. So I'm very much like it.
I reckon he comes in as a backup to Basuma. When I look at the energy that he provides in the midfield, he can carry a ball, he can pass a ball. Yeah, I reckon that's where he'll come in. Or he could be a backup to Papa Matsar. Look, let's be honest with you about it. I like Hojbjerg, right? I don't think he deserves the criticism he gets off the Spurs fan base, bar his performance on Tuesday night. However, Conor Gallagher, he offers us a lot more energy than Skip and Hojbjerg. He offers us a lot more on the ball than Skip or Hojbjerg, in my opinion. So I can kind of see why Ange would want him. He's got a lot of energy, can get around the midfield, just like Papa Massar, just like Madison, just like Basuma. And I think that's sort of where Ange wants to get. That midfield is so crucial to Ange's system in terms of getting up and supporting the press behind the forward players. So when the ball's put into midfield, they're ready to get on it. But also, you know, in terms of progressing the ball, picking it up from the back line and progressing the ball forward. Basuma, I'd argue, has the most important role in the team. You take him out, the whole system fails, in my opinion. But look, same to you, Kate. You know, what's your thoughts on Zinedine Salzburg? Do you think he will make a move this deadline day? And would you be happy with Conor Gallagher?
I don't like Hojbjerg much, I've got to say. I think he's I just don't particularly like him. I think he's slow and I can't see him fitting in Ange's system. Gallagher, I think, is a great little player. I think he's got potential there. He's box to box, but he can also his work rate's unreal. He can go in for tackles. I remember Patrick Vieira, I think it was, said that he reminds him of Ray Parlour or Frank Lampard. Yeah, I think I kind of agree. I think he could be sort of a backup for Basuma. I'm wondering if Ange is looking to kind of incorporate Gallagher and Johnson more into the forward line. I don't know. It's going to be so interesting to see how he moves the players about in the system, because, you know, we've got Sarr, Basuma and Madison all look fantastic. You've got Benton Kerr coming back. And then if you've got Johnson coming in, if you've got Gallagher coming in, and yet it's the front three that really look weak to me. So it'll just be interesting to see. But I really like him, and I think he's a massive upgrade on Hojbjerg for me.
He's a very versatile player, isn't he? Like you could actually play defensive, you could play him see in the box, or you could see him playing in the attacking role, which gives you options. Again, strength and depth, right? There's always going to be someone who's injured, and you can slot in anywhere with a player like that. Dave, I'm sorry, mate. I might take this opportunity to jump in and say I've got to jump, buddies. So I really appreciate you having me on. Appreciate seeing you, Kate and Hennessy and Dermot.
See you later.
Yeah, I got to jump, guys.
Yeah, no worries. Just tell people what time you're on tonight, Shawnee, so that they know to get over there and mark it down in their calendars, my man.
Yeah, 6 o'clock. I'm on my show this evening for a couple of hours. I don't know if I'm going to be able to squeeze something out beforehand, but yeah, but 6 o'clock is my main show today. So I really appreciate your Spurs talk shows where you can find me, guys, if you haven't already. Want to wish you all a happy deadline day. If I don't see you, then keep positive, keep the cockerel in your mind, and pause. That's what she said. And I will love you all and leave you.
See you later, Sean.
Take it easy.
Big up, Shawnee, my man. I really appreciate you giving up some time today. He's a very busy boy. He's a boy in demand. So fair play to Shawnee for making time for, you know, us here on the panel. Also, you Irish Hotspur and Tottenham fanatics out there. So big yourself up. Click the link in the chat here and it'll bring you over to Sean's channel. Make sure you hop on that stream for 6 o'clock and set the notification bell, because look, this is going to be a fast moving today. So what we're talking about today, I would hope has changed dramatically come 6 o'clock tonight. If not, if Sean's still talking about the same things at 6 o'clock tonight as we are now, then deadline day has not gone well. But regardless, get over there, hit the notification bell on that stream for 6 p.m. and make sure you're ready for it. So big up. And big up Davy Shire. I think did I see say he's Maz from her ma? Let me see. Look, my man, Davey, if you ever want to come and visit Ireland, let me know, my brother. You know, anyone that sort of comes over, if they're in over this side of Ireland, I always make an effort to go and see them, you know. So, you know, let me know if you are in ever over, and or anybody in for that matter, you know. If you and you're over this side of Ireland, I'll definitely meet up with you. I've already met up with so many people that have travelled over for a bit of a holiday and stuff like that. So, if you're ever over, let me know, and we'll definitely meet up for sure. And Americanka, good to see you. Hopefully you're keeping well. She says, I like Gallagher a lot at Palace. And that's the thing. Did I ask you? I got your opinion on this, Kate, didn't I?
You got mine, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I'm losing a run of myself. It's all the stuff going on. There's so much going on today. Hennessy, my man. Do you think we will get the same Gallagher we've seen at Palace? Because, you know, look, Sean does make a good point. You know, you could argue so many Chelsea players didn't look like their value or their work last season. And does he excite you? But also, do you think we could end up missing Pierre and Hojbjerg if we let him go? I'll be back in 1 second. I've got someone banging at my door and they won't go. So I'll be back in 1 second.
No problem. So, I have a bit of a bone to pick with these two signings that we're trying to make today. Now, a question to kind of everyone: are we not about to spend the Kane money on two players who we don't know if they're going to be regular first team starters? And then secondly to that, in your guys' eyes, is it worth spending the Kane money to improve the depth of the squad as opposed to getting like that one clear starter, that one big name? But I think we could miss Hojbjerg. I think out of all the sixes, he'd be the six, but I think he could attempt to play a traditional six, but I don't think he'd play it in the way Ange wants it. I also don't think that he has the engine that is needed to play that six. And to be honest, I also still think his defensive ability isn't good enough in the six. But, it's like I can't see him playing in the 8, so I'm going to have to put him as playing in the 6. I think that's the only real place that you can kind of put him. I don't think he has the ability going forward to be, a useful 8 or a backup 8, even in that sense. But, so we could miss him, but if we get someone in and someone else in, like a Gallagher, I don't think that's a problem at all. And to be honest, we said we're here to rebuild. We're said to get things fresh, get things new, and sometimes that will involve parting with some players who we aren't completely against. And, let's just support this rebuild. Let's get people out, get more people in, and work towards the future because the past hasn't been too successful. So let's do what we guys can,
I am wondering if he's looking at Johnson and Gallagher as being more towards the front three roles because, like you say, they're not players we actually need. So maybe he's looking at kind of trying to move their position because Gallagher is quite good in front of goal and Johnson scores and he's played as a forward before. So that's the only thing I can think of rather than buying another two sort of in the Madison, Basuma sort of roles. Maybe he's thinking that they're flexible and they can play forward if needed.
Yeah, and I mean, do we think Gallagher would be better for us in the 6 as cover to Basuma? Or do you think he'd be more realistically kind of rotated in with Sarr in the central midfield role? What do you guys think is a realistic kind of interpretation of how we could expect to play Gallagher?
Yeah, I think Gallagher could be either, really. He's a really flexible player. That's why I think Ange is looking at Johnson and Gallagher because they can play in different positions. That's what I'm thinking. Obviously, the homegrown thing comes into it. But I think he's going to try and implement them. Tottenham do this all the time. They just buy players and play them in the position they're not used to. But I do think there is flexibility with both of those players that they can play a bit more defensive in Gallagher's case or in Johnson's case, he can play forward. So that's what I'm thinking.
Look, I think Conor Gallagher would be a good option to have. You look at the midfield the other night. I said it at the end of last season. I was on it before anybody. I was there with Paul Markey talking about the flaws in Ollie's Skip game. And again, everyone goes, "Oh, Dave, you're just being moaning for the sake of moaning." And now it's come to evident. Everyone's talking about the flaws in Skip's game. Look, the guy just can't offer us what we need. And in order for him to get to that level, will he ever reach the level of Basuma, a Madison, a Sarr, a Bentancur? I'm not quite so sure. Conor Gallagher will definitely be in the squad as a rotation player ahead of Skip. I think at this point, after Hojbjerg's show on Tuesday, I think possibly could be the same thing there. So, look, I do think Hennessy makes a great point. Are we about to spend the Kane money on two players that don't necessarily walk straight into the 11 and improve it? I mean, I'm not sure whether it was Coover or someone else made a good point in the chat as well. You look at what Bayern Munich bought Paulinho for, 15, 20 million extra. It's sort of like, it's I could understand the underwhelming sort of nature if we were to sign them too. But again, I understand why people would be excited about it as well. They're young, they're hungry, they fit into what the first team are trying to do. But as well, we got 100 million for Kane. We haven't spent it on a striker to come in and replace anywhere near the goals that he brings to the team. Richarlison ain't going to cut it. So you're still going to leave yourself short, and you're still leaving yourself short at centre-back. So, look, I think you make a great point, Hennessy. That's one for me to digest over the next few hours for sure. Absolutely great point, brother. Woodsy 1021 says, refuse to go, make them work in Hotspur Way Hotel. 100%. You know, there's a new cleaning job there for you in the morning, Dier, Irish. You know, there's some shears. Get out there with Tony and help keep them hedges trim. You know what I mean? End on belly. I was going to put you in the canteen, but clearly you don't need that. So, you know, we'll put you in administration or something like that. So, you know, there's plenty of jobs that I would make their life hard. You know, that's what I would be doing. Well, actually, look, if I owned the business, I would have cut their contracts a long time ago. Personally, I would have took the hit on them. But, you know, someone like Dier, if he doesn't want to be around, you know what we do? Actually, don't send them away on a one-way return flight. Build him a little sandpit in Hotspur Way in the very corner and keep him over there. That's what I would do. If he wants to be on holiday, stick him in the sandpit in the corner. But big up, Woodsy, my man. Really appreciate the support, brother. Where else are we with this transfer stuff today? Guys, I want to bring up this Ansu Fati team. Look, it's obviously old news right now, but you know, Ansu Fati, this came out today. Ansu Fati was offered to Tottenham, and the club did consider it, but ultimately, Ange Postecoglou vetoed the move. Ange Postecoglou wants to pursue a different profile of forward in Brennan Johnson, and that comes from David Ornstein of the Way of the Athletic. Did I put it in here in my slides? No, I didn't. Not an amateur move by Dave. Very amateur move by me. I do apologize. But look, guys, there's been a lot made of this. Do you think Spurs are embarrassed or made to look like a lesser club by Ansu Fati going to Brighton? Because I've seen a lot of arguments maybe stating the reasons that it is embarrassing, and I can understand it to a certain degree. However, I think if you look into the player and his history, right, he had to get his meniscus taken out, which acts as a shock absorber between the bottom half of your leg and the top half of your leg, and also strengthens in and around your knee. And he's had 4 surgeries. He had 3 surgeries on that to put it right, and they couldn't. And then he had to have a 4th surgery to take it out. And the reason why he didn't want to take it out in the first place, and he went through the first 3 surgeries, is because the long-term effects and damage it can have on your career. For instance, after most games, he's going to have to deal with inflammation and swelling. Is he going to be available and fit for a game every single week? There's only one man that I've been able to see do that with bad knees, and that's Ledley King. But we had to make some serious exceptions for him, i.e. let him go through his own training regimen, let him do his own training, this, that, and the other, just to get him out. But anyone that listens to Ledley King and the interviews he's done since his career, he'll tell you the hardship that he's gone through. Also, it can bring on early onset arteritis and all that sort of stuff, and it does have a long-term effect. And since then, he hasn't been the same player. He hasn't really been able to get into Xavi's plans. And his father has also come out on Spanish radio saying that if Barcelona ain't going to use him, his son should consider going to Real Madrid. And I think, for me, I said it at the time, I'm a bit dubious on the Fati one. Would I take him? Because it's a loan with no option to buy. So, you know, why would we take a player in that's nowhere near at the level he once was and try to get him back to that level? We're not having an option to retain him, but also when we're in a need to improve the first 11. So that's my opinion on it. I'm okay with him going to Brighton because, look, let's be real. Arsenal are rumoured to be interested, PSG, everything else. Why have all them clubs sort of not come in for him? Why has he ended up at Brighton? And my bet is it's because it is the injury and he ain't going to get back to the same player he once was. That's my feeling on it. But look, we'll go and get your feelings on it. We'll start with you on this one, Hennessy, and go to Kate after.
Sure. So, firstly, I think everyone needs to acknowledge that before Ansu Fati's injury kind of activity happened, he was an absolute player on that wing for Barcelona. An absolute player. Now, I think we've been beaten by Brighton, 1, because I think they acted a lot quicker than we did. And 2, I think that to them, I feel it is not as much of a risk because they're not, well, I guess in a way they are in a rebuild stage, but they're further down the line. Like, you know, they're very confident where they are right now. And to them, look, they've said, look, here's a player and he might come really, really good. He's a bit injury prone. You cover X amount of the wage and I'll cover Y, and we'll look after him for the season. And I think really that's why he's gone. And if I'm correct in thinking, right, has Brighton got European football this year?
Yeah.
Yes.
What, are they Europa or Conference?
Europa.
Oh, geez,
You know?
Europa.
Yeah, Villa got Conference, didn't they?
So there's a second thing. So they have got European football, which we don't have. But also, I think that if we signed Ansu Fati, that the expectation would be him to be basically go on the left, Son go in the middle. I think that would kind of be the expectation if we did get Fati. But look, if Ange says he doesn't like this profile of player, I'm behind Ange. Even though I think back in the day, Ansu Fati is an absolute baller of a winger. Look, if Ange doesn't want him, then Ange doesn't want him. And then if Ange doesn't want it, I don't want it. So I'm completely confident in what Ange is doing. I'm completely backing him on his decisions. And, I mean, you could I'd say, just regarding to that comment, we could also argue that how did the last player that we got on loan from Barcelona do? So, we can kind of look at things like that. But
point. So you're not embarrassed then? I'm not. Look, I'm not embarrassed. I'm into the injuries.
Like, it would have been a nice to have, but I understand why we haven't gone out of our way to like really try and get it. Like, I think it's more trouble than it's worth, and we've sort of decided to back out when another team said no. Right, we want this done. We want it done today. Let's go. And look, and we just stepped back and we went, oh, okay, all right then, whatever. It clearly wasn't something that Ange really wanted. It clearly wasn't something that the club was extremely into. And I think you said that Barcelona offered them to us, which to us is like, you're offering this player, we're going to have a look at him. And Ange had a look at him, said, nah, not really my type of guy. And then we haven't gone for him. So I think it's a sensible move to not go for him.
And look, there were rumours also stating that Spurs wanted to offer 30%, that Barcelona wanted 100% covered. And look, that's what Brighton ultimately offered them. But if we were to offer them 100%, that would make him, I think, the top earner at our football club.
Yeah,
can you have that from a
week?
Exactly. You know what? Because all that does then is you'll have Son on the door, Romero on the door, people like that then looking for new contracts. And just quickly also, Big D, I'm from Kildare, my man. I see you from Dublin, Waterford, not too far away. You're ever up this way? I know a lot of the wives like shopping in that Whitewater shopping centre near me. So, if you're ever up this way, my man, just hit me a shout. I get many phone calls. Dave, you're around for a coffee. Why they give the wife and the kids the bank card, which is dangerous. But, if you're up this way, hit me up, brother. Hit me up. But, Kate, where are you at on the Ansu Fati team? Do you think it is embarrassing for a club like Tottenham that you ended up at Brighton over us?
It's going to be a stick that other fans hit us with. But me personally, I don't think the risk of reward for him, for me, was too high. I mean, he was 230 grand a week he's on. He's injury prone. Imagine if we sign him on a loan for a year and within 2 games his ankle goes or his foot goes, whatever. We're stuck with him on 230 grand a week. It's another Ndombele situation. So although they're saying, oh, he chose Brighton over Spurs, like you say, we didn't want to pay the full 100% of his wages, where Brighton were happy to do that. So, yeah, it kind of did, but because the terms were different, a fully fit Fati, which I think that name is great, walked straight into our team at 100%. Of course he does. His buyout clause is $1 billion. So, what was you going to say there, Dave?
I was going to say something there. When you say a fully fit Fatty, people might think you're on about me.
Not at all, Dave. You're a sex god sitting there. Don't be ridiculous. But yeah, the player that he is now, he isn't the player that he was. And like I say, if you sign him, take him on loan, and even if he stays fit, you could spend a year with him, improve him, and then we've got to give him back. To me, I wasn't keen on the deal from the off. So I'm not particularly embarrassed. It's embarrassing enough being a Spurs fan anyway. So.
Yeah, definitely. This summer, it's just so frustrating. This summer was supposed to be deadwood out nice and early so we can rebuild under the new manager. We can take our time to go and get the priority signings in. But here we are today, still waiting for something to go out. Kuva says, I can be patient with the defensive problems we have, but right now I'd kill for another creative player with flair, vision, and an eye for goal, and a player that can bang goals in for fun. Look, I'll be honest, Kuva, I think we need both. I think we need a centre back and a striker. I think they should be the two priorities. Look, I'm not getting into the whole Kane debate, this, that, and the other, but so many people when they're saying sell Kane, we're saying, oh, we don't need his goals. They're going to chip in from everywhere else. Since we sold him, now everyone's talking about we need a striker for the goals. So, I mean, look, that's a problem we created ourselves by letting Harry Kane go so late. They could have set a deadline with Bayern Munich. They refused to do so. They left that in Harry Kane's hands to do so. And, you know, you end up going 2 days before the season's out with no contingency plans in place for it. No one could sit here and tell me Valise was a contingency plan for Kane. It's just not. Valise is one with a player of potential for the future. Yes, no, I'm happy with that. I'm glad that we're looking after that aspect, because hopefully in future it means some of these players will come true, which then means if they do, you can save your money. You can go out and spend it on the big boys. But not having that contingency plan, selling Harry Kane is going to come back to haunt us. But also the centre backs. I mean, Kuva, you know how long I've been on about them, man. From day dot since I started this gig, you know, I've been on about the centre backs not being good enough. And, you know, since then, here I am still talking about the same guys still not being good enough 3 years later. I mean, it's absolutely mind-boggling. So for me, there's no excuses really not to get a striker and a centre back in the door before this window closes. It's the two biggest issues, in my opinion, Kuva. I think they're both equally as important, brother. Big yourself up. And then Sean Maddox says, I'm tired of the term Kane money. The money we spent on Maddison is no different. After Tuesday, we need depth and outgoings, hopefully a centre-back and a right wing. So I'm tired of the Kane money term. The money we spent on Maddison is no different. Look, I hear you. I do hear you on that one. Hennessy, do you want to take this one?
So are we talking Lloyd Kelly and Brennan Johnson, Sean? Or are we talking Bella Kotchap and Brennan Johnson? What are we kind of expecting to come through here? Now, I do agree we need a centre-back and a right wing. You know, if I could, you know, flick a wand and get 3 players in today, I would get a centre-back. I'd get a centre-back, a centre-mid. I'd probably get a striker, not a winger. But that's my priorities as opposed to what other people's priorities might be. I think I've been a very big supporter of Richie, but it's getting to a point where I'm starting to not be able to defend him, and I'm not going to die on that hill. He's becoming like the Dier of striker, right? Just becoming this player who can't do the basics. So, but no, yeah, we definitely need an attacker. We definitely need a defender, and we definitely need a midfielder, because as soon as, you know, as I'm sure you guys have all heard, going through all the different Tottenham Hotspur channels, that as soon as there's an injury to Sarr and Romero's red carded or something, or, you know, or think about when it's January and is it the African Cup of Nations on, where we lose Sarr and Basuma, and it's like, and then we're back to Skip and Hojbjerg playing the system, who, you know, played against Fulham. So, you know, those are my 3: a centre back, an attacker, probably just I'm backing off to an attacker now and a central midfielder. But yeah, look, I think the only reason everyone's calling it Kane money is because they basically directly correlate with how much we got Kane for. So I think that's the only reason I'm calling it Kane money. But yeah, but I guess people will be happy spending money on better depth as opposed to getting quote unquote better first team players, or what's kind of everyone's opinion on that? Is it worth spending 100 million on getting better depth?
On that, what I would say, Hennessy, even if you were to bring in a guy, say you got 100 million for Harry Kane, say if you're going to spend 80 million of that, right? Bringing that guy in, whoever's already in that position, it's still creating depth, but it's creating stronger depth, in my opinion. Whereas if you're purposely going into market to buy strength in depth, that strength in depth is going to be of a lower quality. So for me, it's about sort of, you know, where the ambition is. But look, the likes, like I said, the likes of the homegrown players that we're after, I can understand. I've campaigned and championed for some time about upgrading the homegrown options we currently have. And it needs to be done. But for me, I would love this club to go and target 70, 60, 70, 80 million pound players. And then the players you've already got, make them the backup, because then all of a sudden you're creating a quality team. Look, that's where my preference is, but I also understand that, and the project we're doing is we're looking to bring in young, hungry players. A lot of our signings over the last few years have actively been 25 years or under. They're purposely trying to lower the age group of the squad, and then also they're trying to filter through some of the academy kids and that into the senior squad to create one good, cohesive, coherent squad and add strength in that way. So I think, look, me personally, I'm just sort of, I like a lot of Paratici's recruitment since he's got here, but I'm also struggling at times because I do want, some top quality players in here. When you're losing the likes of Harry Kane, you're sort of left with Son. I'd argue with Mero. Some people would argue not. That's neither here nor there. But outside of that, do you have really any sort of players that can reach that world-class bracket? I'm not so sure. But look, let's wait and see. Where are you at with what Hennessy class there?
Yeah, I think everybody's just thinking that we've sold Kane and the money's just sitting there waiting for us to spend it. But obviously it don't work like that, particularly at Tottenham. We desperately need a centre-back. I mean, I just can't even cope with the thought of not having a centre-back. Yeah. In an ideal world, I'd like a centre-back, a right-back and a left-back because I just think our defence needs a complete overhaul. And yes, we've got I was going to say Ugotti then. That's Jacobs, doggy. And we've got Porro, Emerson. Emerson for me is not good enough, not in a million years. So for me, I'd have a centre-back, a right-back, a left-back and a striker in an ideal world for this window. Will it happen? No. But I think you look at the great teams and work from the back forward. Our midfield now is looking excellent and we've got a little bit of depth there, not as much as we'd like. But if we didn't buy any more midfield, that's fine. But the defence has just been neglected season after season after season. It is just disgraceful that it's been allowed to go on this long. It needs a complete overhaul and we need to have strength in depth because Romero gets injured or Van der Ven or Udogie or even Porro and then you're bringing in sort of the backups and they're just not good enough. So, I mean, I just wish for the rest of this window they would concentrate on the defence, but Richie, I mean, I would have gone to Everton and said, look, you need a striker. We're loaning back to you with an obligation to buy. You can have him for 40 million and get someone else in because he's just crap. I could do better than him and I'm crap.
Yeah. Look, you can already see it, right? Since we move on from the likes of Winks, Sissoko, and Aurier and stuff, we're getting better in them positions. Now it's just about getting rid of the rest of the turgid players we have and getting in better. Just quickly, an update on Hojbjerg. According to the Telegraph, he has turned down a move to Fulham, but they're also saying the deal is not dead yet. I mean, if he's turned it down for me, that means the deal's dead. But let's wait and see how that one pans out. And on the sell, so he will miss the Burnley match due to a quad strain, but it looks like he ain't going anywhere. And Postecoglou was asked in the press conference about the Burnley game, about Brennan Johnson, and he has had to respond saying, where is it? Bear with me 1 second, everyone. Other people are in control of incomes and outgoings. I'm not really in the loop until things are concluded. For me to talk about ins or outs when it may not happen is not my place. So let's just wait and see how the rest of the transfer window sort of turns out. But look, I want to say a massive thank you to, we'll start with Dermot and Sean, the guys who had to go earlier. A massive thank you to them two lads for popping on. I really do appreciate it. A massive thank you to Hennessy and Kate as well. I've really, really enjoyed this. Really enjoyed this. Kate, where can people find you, my dear?
I am at Just a Girl Who Loves Spurs. I'm creeping up to the 500 sub mark, so please come over and hit the subscribe button. I'm also, tonight I'm on Southview Coys with Ashmatic doing a transfer show at 10 o'clock, and I think I'm on Tottenham on tour sometime this afternoon as well. So, but every day on Just a Girl Who Loves Spurs, Monday to Friday, 1 till 2 is my little slot. So yeah, you'll catch me there. And normally on Dave's fan show on a Monday night as well. I pop up everywhere. I'm at the stage where I'm slagging myself out on YouTube, as Brian Daigle told me. I just get everywhere anyone will invite me, I'm there.
Well, look, with a smile like that, Kate, the more Kate, the better. That's what I say. But everybody, please do get over, check out Kate's channel, smash that subscribe button. Great contribution by Kate today. Really appreciate it. Absolutely smashed it. Thank you very much. People, please do get over and share the love. A lot of people give up their time, free and valuable time to be able to do this, to be able to create these conversations. And not only that, but also the research that goes into it to make sure you're informed, this, that, and the other. So a massive thank you for that, Kate. I really do appreciate it. So get over there, share the love around, and smash that subscribe button. Hennessy, my man. Great debut as well. Really appreciate you giving us your time to come on today. No, it was great, my man. Look, you know, you were nervous and all about it, but there's no need to be, brother. You know, you came on the fan show. You were great. You came on here today. You were absolutely great. We'll definitely be seeing more of you around, that's for sure. Anything you want to plug or anything you want to say to Spurs fans before we end off?
No matter what happens today, keep faith. You know, dreams will come true. Some other hopes will be shattered. But at the end of the day, it's transfer deadline day in N17. And regardless of what's happened, stick together, support whoever comes in. You know, try and help each other as best we can. Be kind to anyone you can. And aside from that, guys, I'll probably see most of you in all YouTube channels, because I watch streams practically all day long when I have days off like today. So if you guys ever see me, just say hello and chit chat, and hopefully we have a great day.
And Hennessy goes to games as well. So if you see him around, go and say hi. Hennessy, absolutely brilliant debut today, my man. I really do appreciate your time. It's very, very valued, and you definitely given me food for thought on spending the game money on Gallagher and Johnson. They don't necessarily sort of improve the first 11. Absolutely great, you know, food for thought there. But big up, guys. I really do appreciate your time. It really does mean a lot. So thank you very, very, very much, Shawnee. Yeah, look, look, I'll try to stop using the kind of term Kane money. I'll try my best, you know. Look, I barely speak about him, which I think many people are very surprised about. You know, I thought they'd probably hear me speak more about it, but I'll try my best. But big up, Shawnee Maddox, and hopefully we see you on the fan show this Monday as well, brother. Big yourself up. And then also, Alfred Oscarson, new YouTube member as well. Big up, Alfred. Really appreciate the support, my man. And welcome to the Irish Hotspur community, brother. Hopefully you enjoy yourself while you're here. I think we have a very good community. Everyone sort of rallies around for each other. Everyone's nice and good to each other. So hopefully you enjoy being a part of it. As part of it, same to anyone that's grabbed the channel members recently. Feel free to email me your birthday. I'm going to make sure, you know, I've already done it for the likes of Hennessy and that as well. You know, we'll make sure we try and make your day that little bit more special by putting up a happy birthday message for you. And, you know, other members then will get in and wish you the happy birthday as well. But also Fantasy Football League, members only quizzes, stuff like that. So hopefully you enjoy being around the place, Alfred. Really appreciate it, brother. Really, really do. But look, guys, that's it from me until later on this evening. Myself and Jack will be back at some point today. I can't guarantee what time. Last transfer window, Sky Sports are wrapped up and in bed by 6 o'clock. So if it's the same around this time, we'll go early. If it goes on later into the window, expect to see your boy tonight, but also another early start tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. for the build-up to the big game tomorrow away at Burnley. Let's see if we can get back to winning ways. But I want to say a massive thank you, of course, to the guests. I want to say a massive thank you to every single one of you guys tuning in. 800 for the majority of the stream today. Absolutely incredible numbers. So I really appreciate you guys showing us the love. It really does mean a lot. I also want to say a special thank you to Alfred, to Shawnee, to Woodsy, to Matt, to Jim, to Mr. Shire, big yourself up. Martin, when you do visit the Suns in Dublin, do let me know, brother. Matthew, Nana, Paul Markey, big yourself up, brother. Paul O'Connor, DDNK, Enio Rodrigo. Great name. It's going to take some while to get used to. Big up Big D as well, my man. And also Jeff Totten. So a special thank you to all you guys as well. Really, really do appreciate it. Make sure you smash the like on your way out. Smash that subscribe button as well if you are new. Let me tell you who's on live. I'm still trying to work out how you do this. What everyone else seems to be doing, where you put in something and it just automatically brings you to another. Yeah. I've tried it. I haven't been able to work it out. You know your boy's crap with technology. But I'm going to tell you who's live so you can get on over there now. Let me see who's popping up here. Okay.
I'll teach you, Dave.
Yeah, you may. I do need to know that. We've got Weird Tottenham TV. You've got Tapping Toast. That's who I see is live right now. So go and have your pick in between both of them. If you do go in, make sure you mention Irish Hotspur Raid. Let them know the army is good and strong. But look, that's it from us. We'll see you back here later on. Come on, you Spurs. In the big hands we trust. We never stop. Let's
come on, Tottenham.
Come on, you Spurs.
Everywhere we go.
Oh, thank you, guys. I really do appreciate it.
Well, that was something.
I really enjoyed that. Thank you very much.